Greetings from Emory Henry College. Today, November the 11th, is Veterans Day, a time when our nation pauses to express our gratitude for the men and women who have served in the United States Armed Forces. At Emory Henry College, we also take time to specifically highlight and thank the administrators, faculty, staff, students, and alumni who have served our nation. This year concluded the 75th anniversary commemorations of the events surrounding World War II, specifically concluding with the anniversary of VJ Day on September the 2nd, when the Allied forces claimed victory in the Pacific. The men and women who fought in World War II have become known as the GI generation, and to many others they are known as the greatest generation. Each year we lose more of these individuals who take with them the memories of one of the greatest struggles against tyranny the world has ever known. Most of those who remain with us recall growing up in the Great Depression during profound social and economic turmoil before quickly moving into the Second World War. During the enormously challenging year of 2020 and the cloud of uncertainty that hangs over 2021, we can still only imagine how challenging 1930 must have been and the uncertainty of 1941. The men and women of the greatest generation continue to be great models of American strength, resiliency, and courage in the face of trying times. As we remember those of the greatest generation who risked their lives more than 75 years ago, we recall individuals like Mary Blakemore Johnston. At the dinner table one evening during her senior year at Emory Henry College, Mary remarked to her father, a World War I veteran, "Women served in all our country's wars as nurses. Why not in other jobs?" Her father replied by describing the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps, which later became the Women's Army Corps. On December the 6th, 1942, Mary withdrew from Emory Henry College and traveled with her father to a recruiting station in nearby Abingdon, Virginia. And the recruiting officer informed Mary and her father that she was underweight by 2 pounds. "Keep those papers handy," her father told the sergeant. "We'll be back tomorrow morning." That evening, Mary's father purchased 2 dozen bananas and a thick steak. Mary recalled that she thought she would explode, but the next morning she met the requirements and was off to join the war effort. Mary was trained at Vent Hill Farm Station in Virginia with 19 others, librarians, teachers, linguists, lab technicians. Together they studied cryptanalysis. Mary was informed that if she wished to travel overseas during her service, she would have to agree to be frozen in rank. This didn't sit well with Mary, but the call to serve abroad was too great, and so she made the agreement. She landed in Oro Bay, New Guinea, and traveled to Hollandia, where she stayed with other servicewomen in a tent city. At night in the tent city, Mary would assist the others by removing boa constrictors from their barracks each night, and she would shake tarantulas from their boots each morning. While abroad, Mary served as a cryptanalyst in the Pacific, decoding Japanese naval messages. After Mary enlisted, her father re-enlisted, and since he was a lawyer, he found a place in the Allied military government. He went into French and Belgian villages after the fighting and established law and order. Mary's father didn't return home until after she did. Re-enrolling at Emory Henry College, Mary graduated with her younger sister Martha in 1946. As they were in the line during commencement, Emory Henry College President Dr. Foy Gibson announced, "We have just learned that Mr. Blakemore is home, and we would like to have him give his daughters their certificates." Mary recalled her father coming down the aisle weeping. He gave Martha her diploma and a kiss. To Mary, he smiled and tearfully said, "Well, Mary, it's about time." Mary was among several Emory Henry College alumni to play important roles in the Pacific Theater. Frank Rowlett graduated from Emory Henry College in 1929, and he was recruited to work as a cryptologist and a cryptanalyst in the United States War Department. While working in the department's Signal Intelligence Service, Rowlett led a team in writing ciphers for the U.S. Army and breaking foreign code systems. In 1940, Rowlett's team solved the complex and sophisticated Japanese code nicknamed Purple, a critical step leading to the Allied victory in World War II. Unaware that their code had been broken, The Japanese used purple throughout the war, enabling American and Allied leaders to intercept important Japanese and German secrets passing between Tokyo and Berlin. Years later, Rowlett was asked to identify his greatest contribution to the code-breaking effort, and he replied, "I was the one who believed it could be done." Thomas T. Handy, who attended Emory Henry College from 1908 to 1911, was a United States Army four-star general who served as Deputy Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army and later Commander-in-Chief of the United States European Command. In his role as Deputy Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army and in the absence of General George C. Marshall, General Handy was assigned the harrowing responsibility of signing the orders for the attack on Hiroshima on August the 6th, 1945. John Ashworth, a physician of distinction and a member of the class of 1931, served as a medical officer in the Pacific. He was assigned to care for Japanese Prime Minister Tojo and to ensure that he was fit to stand trial for war crimes. Ashworth later became Chief of Surgery at Johns Hopkins University before semi-retiring and serving as campus physician to his alma mater for many years. The values that made Mary Blakemore Johnston travel to the recruiting station in Abingdon early one December morning in 1942 and drove her fellow alumni to serve echo those values so eloquently stated by President Franklin Roosevelt in his State of the Union address on January the 6th, 1941. Hear now these words from President Roosevelt regarding four freedoms. In the future days which we seek to make secure, we look forward to a world founded upon four essential human freedoms. The first is freedom of speech and expression everywhere in the world. The second is freedoms of every person to worship God in his own way everywhere in the world. The third is the freedom from want everywhere in the world. And the fourth is freedom from fear anywhere in the world. That is no vision of a distant millennium. It is a definite basis for a kind of world attainable in our own time and generation. As we continue to strive for the kind of world President Roosevelt envisioned, we pause with reverence to extend a humble thanks to all of those who have served and are serving in our nation's armed forces. From all of us here at Emory and Henry College, we thank you.
This is Army Sergeant Eric Kaufman. After serving 2 tours in Afghanistan, Eric returned to graduate from Emory and Henry in 2013. On this Veterans Day, to Eric and all those who have served in the armed forces, past and present, we thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to my wonderful stepdad, Chris Cruz, Navy Petty Officer, First Class.
Thank you, veterans.